The clock's run out on her, Allison.
Please, just one more time.
Come, honey, we have to go
The
now.
story begins with Allison, who at this moment is tormented by doubts and fears due to having an unplanned pregnancy. Not having the support of her parents, much less her boyfriend Rick, who claims her and blames her for everything, she must make the most difficult decision of her life. So she is very sad. She goes to the clinical center remembering the harsh words that her boyfriend said to her.
You just gotta take care of it. You gotta go someplace and take care of it. If you have this baby, it'll tear us apart.
Overwhelmed by the fear of not wanting to lose Rick, she decides to enter the clinic where she meets a cleaning assistant who stares at her. Inexplicably, the employee approaches her and tells Allison that it is not convenient for her to continue in love with Rick, since she deserves to have someone who truly loves and respects her by her side.
It's not a good thing. Better you find out now.
There, Allison is surprised to see that the worker knows her every thought and feeling.
Who are you?
For this reason, she doubts if she had really seen that man, or it was simply her imagination. After a while, she finds herself more confused than she was before, so she does not remain in doubt and looks for that strange man and asks him for the last time.
Who are you?
Hearing his answer, she is shocked and can't believe it, but after a while she is totally convinced that this employee is really Jesus sent by the janitor, after he appeared with some of the clothes we are used to wearing. Allison is surprised and asks how no one else can see him.
Why can't they see you?
Jesus, already seeing himself discovered, confesses what he suffers and cries for her babies every time a woman enters, determined not to give her innocent son the opportunity to live.
They're killing my babies. Thousands and thousands of my babies.
After hearing those words, she no longer feels as safe as before her decision, so she begins to think about other possible solutions, but the idea of having so much responsibility at her young age terrifies her, so she wants this all to end quickly. Jesus, knowing her thoughts, tries to make her understand how much he loves her.
Because I love you, Alice.
And as the man talks, she silently and with a sweet smile reflected on her face manages to see and feel inside her womb how her little girl's heart, despite being the size of a is capable of beating and inject life into her tiny organs, where her cells are multiplying every second to shape her eyes, nose, feet, and hands. Not only does Jesus try to get Allison to make the best decision, but also the receptionist, who, as a woman with a lot of experience, realizes that this is the first time the girl has found herself in a situation like this, and takes advantage of Allison's insecurity so that a counselor tries to make her give up that bad decision, and make her see that there are many more options.
This is Anna. My husband insisted that we name him after his grandfather, so
But Allison decides to ignore her and continue with her goal.
Because I really, really want to get this over. I just want to get this over with.
But why is it so hard for Allison to make the right decision if Jesus already told her that the girl he gave her will fill her life with affection, love, protection, happiness, and joy, that she is the only one who can choose whether to let her
And I willed
live
her for
or
life,
annihilate her?
Alice. Not to die today in this place, certainly not by her own love.
Later, the girl keeps looking at the phone, hoping at least to receive a text from Rick. Allison needs to know if the decision she made is really the right one, and to clear her mind, God agrees to the young woman's desire to see her baby again, where it is clearly visible how vulnerable she is, how she is developing with just a few days of life. You can see how well it is formed. But that long-awaited call from Allison could not be more inopportune, which suddenly bursts into that beautiful moment where the greatest miracle manifests itself, such as life. Finally, Allison talks to Rick, and she once again doesn't want to realize how immature and irresponsible he is, by not giving her the importance that she should have of being a father for the first time.
I gotta do my thing. Why are you trying to take that away from me?
And since she is still in love with him, she is happy to have heard her voice despite the bad treatment that Nick gives her.
So, are you coming?
I think it's better if I just lay low out.
At the end of the call, Jesus reminds her of the entire conversation she had with her boyfriend when he didn't support her, nor did he care about that baby's life, and although he intervened to make Rick aware, he ignored him.
It's not a big deal. You just gotta go someplace and take care of it. It's not like it's a real kid or anything.
At that moment, Allison is discovered. She could no longer hide the truth of her relationship, because he is Jesus and there is nothing hidden from him.
Would you just do nothing and let him
Once again, Jesus warns the girl that if he goes through with her decision, he will pay dearly for the rest of her life.
I don't want to discuss this with you.
This revelation caused Allison to begin an internal struggle between what her heart feels and what her reason tells her.
If you have this baby, it'll tear us apart.
So more confused than ever, she asks for a space in the clinic where she can be alone to clear her mind. Sitting on the floor of that room, she remembers all those words Jesus said to her about how much she loves her and her baby. In the midst of her confusion, a spark of light flashes in her mind, but it goes out again, remembering that the economic situation is not very good. And if she goes through with the pregnancy, she knows that she can't count on Nick, and she should find another job.
I just don't know what to do.
Because of all this, she begins to cry herself desperately to sleep, but she is not alone. There is Jesus, as always. Day by day, as he does with each one of us, watching over our dreams, but sometimes we don't want to listen to him. In a beautiful dream, she can live the future that awaits her with her daughter, where she feels how happy she is, enjoying her presence and the unconditional love that mother and daughter interact with. It is there that she feels true love, the most sublime, the one that really makes life worth living. While Allison is transferred to the doctor's office, the auxiliary nurse tells her about her experience many years ago, when, like her, she made the same decision to end the pregnancy and claims that it was her best decision.
To become masters of their universe, and to never have their lives reduced to some man's needs or some...
Although it can be seen at first glance that she is not as happy as she says, since she is a woman who has no children and lives alone with 3 cats, which are her life, and since that disastrous day she has dedicated herself to fulfilling a mission, which is very proud to celebrate the termination of pregnancies number 5.000 this month. When the doctor arrives, a controversy immediately arises between them. He supports the idea that what she has inside her is just a bunch of tissue, while she deduces that she is a living being from the moment of conception. She does not understand that being a tissue, if the pregnancy is not interrupted, then how can she explain that she becomes a human being? Running out of arguments, the doctor only told her that he couldn't guarantee anything about whether it was just tissues or not, but Allison had to make her decision.
Going to do with a baby?
As they leave, Jesus once again reminds Allison that time is running out, and she, thinking that he is entirely to blame for what is happening, reproaches him for how cruel he is.
Eres cruel.
But Jesus defends himself by showing him the scars of the crucifixion, which signify salvation from sin and cruelty. Allison must make her decision, and Jesus cannot force her to save her daughter's life, nor force her to be a mother, nor make her dance for joy for having that privilege inside her. At that moment, Allison is happy because the other girl, who seemed very determined to have the third intervention, gave up applying it after her boyfriend came looking for her and convinced her to let her baby be born, and she happily leaves with him to build a true family. But before leaving, she confesses to Allison that even if her boyfriend had not gone looking for her, she was still going to leave there, since she had thought it through, and she never wanted to go through that moment again. Already more relaxed, Allison took the opportunity to ask Jesus a series of questions, which cleared up many doubts that human beings have, just like her, and in conclusion it became clear that God does not hate anyone and loves everyone equally.
There's no one I don't love.
And that every time a cruelty is committed in the world, it is as if they were crucifying it again. Jesus has less than 30 minutes to make Allison understand once and for all that all he wants is to save her baby's life because he loves her. The time has come, desperate and with great anguish she asks for more time, but there isn't.
She just wants to live.
It's over and they're coming for her. Jesus, crying and begging, since it is the last thing he can do for Allison and her daughter, reminds her over and over again that the girl wants to live, that he came to save her and that she has to decide.
I can't hold them off, Allison.
She begs him to let her see one more time. He agrees, and it's all up to Allison's decision. The next day, everything continues as normal at the pregnancy termination clinic. The man who works in cleaning continues to talk to each of the patients who arrive there to give her love, and will try to ensure that each of these women does not take the life of her baby. Some will ignore it and others will listen to it. And so this story ends with the distant sound of a melodic song from a girl who laughs and plays happily with her mother. This is the summary of a Christian movie called Allison's Choice. Click here and do not miss the next story.